wherever you are, and welcome to the Barren Break. So, yeah, it was sort of raining. In fact, it's kind of stopped now. But I was going to get it was a 103 um, bus, but yeah, it was a 631, but it said Nambour Station and not to Noosa Heads, and was going to take 2.5 hours. But there was a 150 631, which was going to Noosa Head Junction, and when I take, I don't know, maybe sort of just over an hour. So I can't quite work it out. Google is not always accurate, but it could be that the 631 maybe has different routes. Maybe it's not consistent. I don't know. And I was going to go to the bus stop. It's only a 3-minute walk, but it was kind of raining, so that's why I'm just going to hang feral at the ginger factory, and then stream some YouTubes, as you can see. So yeah, so I'll get the 150. It's not a big deal. It's only 45 minutes. Now did the tour of the factory. That was pretty good. It was, what was it, $17.50 adult. But it was okay. And you had so you got to see the factory. There was some commentary and so on, how it began, and there was a tasting. There was a tasting at the end with some ginger products. I thought that was sort of a good good sort of experience. And of course, walking around the factory, went to the nut factory across the road. I didn't think it was so great. They say free tasting. Well, I didn't see any free tasting, but I don't know. I think they're just kind of run a business. Say there's free tasting, maybe you have to ask, and maybe if you had the free tasting, maybe expected to buy something. You know what I mean? So I kind of just I had a little bit of look at the factory and then just kind of left. Went to this historic house down the road. I thought that was quite good, and there was kind of a cafe there, and it was good. They had like a berry and apple pie with ice cream, sort of your classic sort of Sara Lee hot apple and berry pie that you'd buy and put in an oven. You can't really get that sort of thing anymore. So which is why I thought it was quite good. And just a simple cheese and tomato toasting and a hot chocolate. So went there for lunch and of course looked around this historic house. There was an art gallery, a museum, and just down the road from a ginger factory. Now, yeah, you might have heard there's this new kid off the block now. So there's the classical Uno, and now there's Flip Uno. So we had a games. Uno Flip, and so we had a games night last night, part of the weekly schedule in the hostel, and of course we were playing Uno, and then we ended up playing Uno Flip. What is the difference? It's more or less the same game. It just takes longer playing Uno Flip, and there's more kind of there's more features. There's kind of I don't know. I guess the critical one is the flip feature. So when you play a flip card, you have to flip all your cards over. You flip the deck over, and you're playing from because both the sides there's a number or there's a particular a card face on each side of the card, and that's what you play. But of course, everyone can see your cards because they are double-sided, which is kind of interesting, isn't it? So there is kind of strategy there in that you kind of have to remember what cards everyone has because of the end game on what cards you play in the end game. So the players that are on 1 or 2 cards left, you don't want them to typically go out, and you may play your cards accordingly. So it's kind of interesting. So there could actually be more strategy in this new kid Uno Flip compared to classical Uno. Also takes 3 times as long as well. But yes, we played that last night, and we also had some music streaming, and we had sort of, I don't know, everyone was kind of ended up being a little bit of a karaoke, and we're playing like Shakira music, Shaki, Hips Don't Lie, and everyone was like kind of dancing the Shaki moves whilst playing Uno Flip. Yeah. That's great. Now I was going to say yes. Now the Uno Flip. Now Flip. Now who was Flip? Well, Flip was of course Mark Philippoussis, the tennis player. He had the nickname. He had a number of nicknames. You know, the Pooh, the Scud. I don't know. You get more inventive. Mark Philippastry, and you know. But Flip was a name given to Mark Philippou. I think Leighton Hewitt would refer to him as Flip. So I don't know. Is there sort of a bit of a, I don't know, kind of connection there between this Uno Flip, or was this Uno Flip named after the fact that Mark Philippoussis, you know, was kind of nicknamed Flip, so people may refer to that. You know, they see this word Flip and they draw this connotation to this particular tennis player. Maybe there was a marketing strategy there. It's interesting. Why does everything have to come down to, you know, reference back to tennis? So they should, yeah. So what is better, or what should everyone be playing then? Should they be playing Uno, or should they be playing Uno Flip? I don't know. I think Uno Flip's maybe more exciting, but maybe you just play a combination of both. Maybe you start to play Uno, you get sick of Uno, and maybe you then may have a game of Jenga, and then maybe an Exploding Kittens, and then back to Uno, and then maybe finish off the night Uno Flip with a karaoke dancing Shakira moves on the table of the hostel or the dorm, depending where your location is. And is dorm Uno then different to kind of, you know, communal Uno in the, you know, in the common area? Does it make a difference? Are there different rules? I noticed that I was playing with some Germans, and they have this rule. Everyone just brings in their own rule. I know. To me, if you're playing in a hostel, if you're in Australia, you should be playing Australian rules. Obviously not Australian rules football, but the rules of that typically Australians play Uno. But the only problem is, yeah, it's not exactly standardised even within Australia. It could be more state-based. Is that right? But anyway, they had this rule where if you've got one card, if you got one card left, you say Uno, and that's obvious. Everyone plays that. If you don't say Uno, well, you have to pick up one card. I know in some jurisdictions you have to pick up 4 cards, even 7 cards. And then when you go out, when you have no cards, you have to say Uno. That's kind of the German rule. Now, that's for Uno. But what about Uno Flip? If you got one card left, you have to say Uno Flip or just Uno. And when you go out, you have to say Uno Flip. I don't know. So I kind of brought in this rule. I said to them, do you have to say Uno Flip? And they kind of, they kind of sort of agree with me, because I think it's sort of based on logic. I think the rules are kind of based on logic. Because the game is now called, or the new game is called Uno Flip, and if you're playing Uno Flip, then you say Uno Flip. And if you don't say Uno Flip, well, you have to pick up cards. If you just say Uno and forget to say the flip, then you just have to pick up cards. Could you take this to another level and say, well, I don't know, just start talking about, I don't know, the statistics or records of Mark Philippoussis without actually saying flip? Or was that just too cryptic? Was that kind of an Australian rule, given that Mark Philippoussis was typically from Australia? I don't know. And yeah, I was playing with this guy. Yeah, I was at the Krishna farm, and this young kid, like, he wouldn't take the card off the top, and he was kind of going like, halfway through the deck and like filling the card and saying, "Yep, this one," as if like he was kind of superstitious or something. I don't know. Kind of thought, he thought he'd pick a better card, which was not off the top. Now, I guess if it was kind of random, well, it kind of would have mattered. But with Uno Flip, well, it kind of does matter, because the cards are both sides, if you see what I'm sort of getting at. So his rule is not exactly, coherent. It's not coherent across the different formats of Uno. Yes, it may work with say Uno, but not with Uno Flip. And so I think we should abolish that particular rule. So if you're going to be in rules, you just have to do your research a little bit. That's the moral or the catechism of this particular segment of talking about Uno or Uno Flip. Okay, so might leave it there, and that's just something to ponder on. Okay. and that was the Baron, and the Baron breaks. Is it nicer in Noosa or in Exmouth, WA?